What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I've got some more entitled parent stories which you're gonna love. You boys are too old for Sundays. So, me and my boyfriend at the time went to a local Frankie and Benny's. We had a really nice meal and I noticed I had some extra money, so I thought I could pay a little bit extra for some sundaes for both of us. He was all for the idea, so I went and ordered us some. The sundaes arrive and the entitled mum and her son walk in. Excuse me, my son and I noticed that you have sundaes? Yeah, it's on the menu. I recommend them a lot. Well, my son really wants some. I can let him try a bit if he wants. No, he wants all of yours. I could see that the kid was pretty uncomfortable, so I really doubt he actually said anything of the sort. And his mum was just saying he wanted them. He didn't want to be here either. Listen, I said he could try some if he wants, but I can't just give him my sundae. Well, you boys look too old for sundaes. This really annoys me. Firstly, we were 15. I don't think sundaes are age restricted. Secondly, this was supposed to be a nice day out for us since we wanted to go out for a meal and be together. But now we have to deal with this? Please, just leave us alone. Not until you give me that sundae. At this point, my boyfriend steps in and tells her that if she doesn't leave us alone, he would have to get a member of staff. She finally left and we ended up just talking about it for the rest of the day. Honestly, dude, in my opinion, you were too nice to these guys. I would have just told them to F off. Like, who just walks into a restaurant and says, yeah, I'll have that plate of food? You just don't do that. Now for our second story. Why would I pay you for my kids to stay at my house? So, I'm a daycare worker and I get a lot of babysitting gigs. For some backstory, I babysit this sweet little boy and his mother lives with another mum with 2 kids, but they're typically never at the house. Their grandma watches them. One of her children is so bad that he got kicked out of our daycare program at school. The other is in 6th grade and keeps to herself. Normally, when I watch the good kid, the mum pays me $25 a day, which isn't much, but he's well behaved and easy, so I don't mind. But one day, the other mother left her 2 kids at the house. We had previously discussed me watching her kids as well for the same price, but she ended up saying I was asking too much. I don't really think about $3 an hour is an absurd amount, but whatever. No, if anything, it is criminally cheap. The good kid and the bad kid don't get along at all. It's lots of constant fighting, screaming, crying, hitting, and it's hard to control at times. The mum of the 2 kids texts me and says she'll pay me if I took the kids to the park, and I said okay. The children were fighting as per usual, and I suggested they play Minecraft, and they agreed. They were playing nicely and everything was going well, and I asked them if they wanted to go to the park soon. They said in a little bit, and I was fine with that since I finally got them to calm down. The mother of the 2 children texted me and said she was on her way home and asked if I took them to the park. I told her they weren't ready to go yet and that they were playing video games now. This woman told me exactly this. You know that means I'm not paying you, right? Why would I pay you for my kids to stay at my house? Maybe because your child is a demon. I know we had agreed for me to take them to the park for payment, but I had spent 8 hours there taking care of her children. I cooked for them, broke up all of the fights, and had to deal with my eardrums basically bleeding the whole time from the crying and screaming. I was exhausted. I still got paid $25 from the mum of the good child, and she apologized for me for having to deal with the horrible one, but it still makes me upset thinking about it to this day. Imagine saying, why would I pay you for my kids to stay at my house? That is what babysitting is. You're paying me to be there so you don't get arrested and lose your children to someone who will care for them better than you do. In future, if OP is not available to watch your children, you'll have to pay someone else who will likely charge a fortune because your child behaves as badly as you do. If I'm totally honest, the other mother isn't that great either. I mean, at least she pays you, but $25 for an entire day, that is ludicrously bad. Now for our final story. Entitled mother doesn't get her van, nor will she ever. I've worked in the travel and tourism industry for several years, mainly in transportation, but some hospitality and business management. Saying that the business I'm in is rife with entitled parents and entitled people in general is an understatement. At the time of this story, I had been with the company for a few months. It started to get close to the holidays, so my small office was getting busier and busier, with more families planning to rent a vehicle than take dad's beat-up 1998 Suburban to my grandma's house. I was still gleaming with positivity about my job, unaware of the horrors that people could turn into when their family vacation is on the line. December of 2016 and Christmas travelers have started piling outside our doors first thing in the morning. Office opened at 7 a.m, but we were usually there by 6:30. One morning we see a small line of people, which is to be expected, but what stands out from this one is the entitled mother at the front of the line. We'll call her EM, and her 6 high-spirited children climbing on the railing outside our office. We managed to get inside the building and get things up and running for the day, my manager greeting the entitled mum and letting her know we will be open in a few more minutes. What do you mean? We've been standing here for half an hour in the cold. Can't I bring my children in? My manager sort of blinks and says of course they can come in. It will just be a few moments before everything is up and running. My 2 other co-workers and I look at each other and just internally flatline before my co-worker gives me a knowing look and mouths, "This is going to be a fun one." My manager brings the woman and her children in while we work to get the computers booted and the office in running shape. For 15 minutes, this woman repeatedly asks if we're done and can get my dang car yet, while her kids use our lobby chairs as a jungle gym. Admittedly, the kids were pretty cute and staying relatively calm. Once the computers are booted up, my manager has me look up the woman's reservation. I say hello and the entitled mum just ignores me, not uncommon, but I continue to get the system started. I ask for her name and she spits it at me while shooting one of her kids away from her legs. This is where things get complicated. Her reservation was for a minivan, which we were completely sold out of. How she even managed to make the reservation, I don't know, but it was time-stamped as being made only an hour before we got to the store. When I tried to inform her of this, you could see her blood starting to boil. Are you kidding me? I made this reservation ages ago and I need this van for me and my children to visit my mother. It's Christmas time, how could you be sold out? Me, being the newbie, start to panic a little and my manager, we'll call him James, steps back up to the front after noticing this. "Mom, please don't yell at my employees. We are sorry we don't have your minivan at this time. You are correct, it is Christmas time so we have been sold out. But if you wait a few moments, I can try and call another location to secure one for you." How could you not have one here waiting for me? Well, it appears as if your reservation was made just this morning and we have been sold out of minivans for a few days now. If you have a seat, I will gladly try to find one for— This better be quick, my kids haven't had breakfast and they're starving. The kids were fine, still running around and playing in the lobby. James asked me to call the other location, thankfully only a few minutes away, and see about getting an extra van. While I'm on the phone with the office, the entitled mum is mumbling loudly about how horrible our service had been, and how she expected us to make our mistake worth her time. I managed to get the other manager on the line and he says he has no vans left, but he does have an extra Suburban we can use. I notify James and he tells one of the drivers in our office to get ready to go grab it. The entitled mum must have heard me say what vehicle it was, because she is immediately up at the counter, demanding that it have leather and heated seats so my children can be comfortable for the long ride. By this point, we all just wanted her gone, so we were trying to make this as quick and efficient of a process as possible. James tells me to take her license and process her paperwork, and we attach the vehicle to her contract once it arrives. I pull open her reservation, type in her driver's license number, hit search, and James? He turns back around and looks at the screen. A very large warning message has popped up, explaining that this woman is essentially on our blacklist for damaging a vehicle, a luxury vehicle, to the tune of $25,000 worth of repairs, all of which had yet to be paid, and this claim was about 2 years old. James now has a much more stern tone. "I'm sorry, Mom, but I'm afraid we won't be able to get that vehicle for you today. It looks as if you may have had a previous issue with another car back in 2014. I already paid for that. It was only a couple $100 anyways. Ask my lawyer, he'll tell you." "Mom, unfortunately we can't." "Your job isn't to tell me what you can and can't do. Your job is to get me into that freaking car." James now picks up the phone with a smile. "Actually, Mom, my job is to weigh whether or not someone is trustworthy enough to put into one of our vehicles. You clearly are not. I will have to ask you to leave or I will be calling the police." The entitled mum does a panicked little shuffle, swiping her ID off the counter and gathering up her children to get out the door. I guess she had figured this would happen because a big old clunker of an SUV had pulled up outside our office, and she hurriedly shoved her kids in it before the driver peeled out of our parking lot. My co-worker was right, that was a fun one. This Karen is so stupid. I love how she thought there was any world in which a car company wouldn't keep records of their previous clients. Like if someone's rented a car from you before, a luxury vehicle, and they've damaged it to the tune of $25,000, I'm not sure they're going to want to give you another car in the future. See, this This is the one thing that really makes me not want to have to get a customer service job. I don't think I would do very well in these situations. Anyway guys, that is going to do it for this episode of r/Entitled Parents. I really hope you enjoyed it. I do apologize if my voice was a little raspy in this one. I've recorded this in the morning and I've just woken up. Maybe not the best idea. If you want to see some more Entitled Parents videos, perhaps when my voice is a little more normal, click the video on screen right away and I will see you over there in a second.